Okay, for those that missed the lecture on Chapter 10, I just wanted to update you on important points you might need before you go to the mini university this week. So this is Chapter 10, just a few pointers. So if you want to look at the actual menu, here's the website. I just checked it and it doesn't show this coming week's menu yet, but you can find it. The slides are in the Chapter 10 page, so you can look at again the slides there. So just the quick outline is that before you go, there's a few things that would be helpful to remember. One is that because of the problem with children and the nutrition, we're looking at increasing their fruits and vegetables, dark greens, whole grains, and making sure the calcium level is adequate. Those are some of the main healthy 2020 goals. Also cutting back on sugar, salt, the sugar, fats, and salt. If you want to look at a few videos, I don't think I can show them on here, but on the slides, you might be interested in seeing some videos of children at different ages and how their skills are in eating. In general, this chapter just looks at eating patterns, feeding skills, food preferences, and appetite for this age, this group of toddlers and preschool. So we're talking of children age 1 to 5. So the first year, infancy is considered birth to 1 year, and then school age is considered after 5 and up, somewhere around 5 to 6. So this is the kids right before they go to school. So the growth and development that's common at this age, you can see using the growth chart. So we use the CDC growth charts from starting from 2 and up. They're used as standards because the CDC charts are based on American children, whereas the WHO charts are actually based on, I think, 6 different countries of children. It's not as accurate for our diet because of the Western diet being higher in calories. We tend to have a little higher weights than we would have. So if you charted the same person in the WHO chart, which I think we'll do at one point, and a CDC chart, you would come out looking a little lower weight on a CDC chart than you'd look higher, like you'd look to be higher weight percentile on a WHO chart. Here just shows a standard growth curve you'd like to see. Pretty much, it won't be exactly on the same line, but and here you can see that the height, is pretty much following about the 25th to 50th percentile during the whole first 2 years. So then the WHO standards, they were published, they go from from birth to 5, and it's a variety of ethnic groups and socioeconomic groups as well. So if you look at the milestones then, behaviorally, you can see that a 2-year-old or even an 18-month-old can use a spoon, they can drink from an open cup, but when they're eating, they're usually easily distracted. They don't have an appetite, it's consistent. It's called a food jag, where they might have a big appetite 1 or 2 days or even a whole week and then nothing. Then it drops way off the next week or the next day. That's to be expected because children at this age are eating based on their appetite, not so much based on what they see or what you try to get them to eat. They really are limited based on what their growth, appetite based on their growth is. They're pretty messy eaters the first year or two because they don't have the skills with their tongue yet to really clean their lips and to really keep food from dribbling out of their mouth. And their tongue isn't as good as at pushing the food back, the bolus back down your throat. It's still developing the jaw and the tongue, which is important in language skills. So at the same time they're learning language, they're also going to become better at eating. Those will go hand in hand. So usually they're around 2 and 3, they have a much better vocabulary, which means they're probably better at eating. So when they're 3, they can they can pour their own liquids, they can pour their own drinks. They can obviously use all the utensils. You could be teaching them all the skills of politeness at the table, using their napkins, saying please and thank you. They can help cook. There's a lot they can do at 3 and even moving into 3. And at 4, of course, even better, but now they're more affected by other people, by their friends, by TV, by what they might eat. So now they're looking at what everybody else is doing. They're more socially interested. So developmentally, the toddlers are toddling because when they do walk or run, when they first learn to walk, they are pretty stiff. Their legs, their knees don't really bend. They do look like they could easily be just pushed over. And they do it. Just getting a child that learns to walk on an uneven surface, just watching them walk on grass instead of a sidewalk is pretty funny because they really can't maneuver it at first. And they can't get used to the different topography. But as they gain control and balance and so forth, they can run, they can use stairs, they can ride tricycles. Obviously, you'll see quite a big improvement. And you can watch a video here of some developmental milestones. Temperament also can affect their eating and their behavior at the table. So kids that have very strong strong opinions are much harder to get to try new food. So usually you would not give very much of a new food at one time, and you would present it with something they're already used to eating, so they aren't overwhelmed. But sometimes different people can work with these kids and get them to eat things you couldn't. So you just never know. Their likes and dislikes change. And then people that are slow to warm up, they also would have difficulty trying new things. So you might see that challenge. As far as toddlers, they're going to be watching the parent or the adult around them more than the other kids to model after them. That's how they're learning language skills from the adults, and they're also learning eating skills and food desires, food interests based on what people around them are eating. But because of their poor vocabulary, they do often have tantrums because of their inability to express themselves. Cognitively, the preschooler is quite a bit more advanced. Now you can tell them, only one cookie, or you have to wait till dinner. You can't eat that until dinner. They actually can control their behavior a little better. They have a much wider vocabulary, and they can interact with other children. They're much more socially interested. And this is just a few more videos you can watch if you want to see how the brain does develop and how the different connections occur. So it's important that not just so they eat well, but for their brain to develop correctly, they need a lot of environmental impulses. Like you want to try introducing them to different situations, different languages, different textures, different people, different smells. All of those things help build the brain connections and give them the cognitive ability, intellectual abilities they'll need later. Nutritionally, then, the calories have increased. They were 700 calories for the 6-month-old, and now they're maybe even twice that for a 2 or 3-year-old. And I can show you the chart. The way we determine their calorie needs is we basically have these formulas that you take based at their age, look at their age, and then you take these 89 calories times their weight in kilograms, and then you subtract or add these integers here to make the EER equation correct. So that's what's been used. So if you want to see what that works out to for a preschooler, a 3-year-old boy who's low active is about 1,300 calories or 1,600 calories if they're very active. That's quite a bit higher than that 600 calories for that 6-month-old. And then you can see that the protein needs also change. So when they were, remember it was a little higher for infants. Now it's a little bit more than adults. Adults are 0.8. Now our 1 to 3-year-olds 1.1, and then it drops a little bit to 0.95 as they slow down the rate of growth. Their protein needs slow a little bit. Vitamin, they still need iron. It was 11 milligrams. Now it's dropped down to 7 and then 10. So as they're, again, based on research of growth patterns and the needs for average children, these are the RDAs. Calcium now is increased to 1,000 milligrams, and it pretty much stays at that for most of them, all the way through adult, or it goes up a little bit during teen years, but then it drops back to 1,000. Okay, so looking at my plate, that's a good reference you can check to see, what a standard plate should look like, which is basically what the My Plate is. But the thing that's different is the serving sizes. So here are some typical serving sizes for a 1 to 4-year-old. So just 4 French fries, 2 potato wedges, and maybe 10 noodles, half a slice of bread. And if you happen to look at this website, I can try to show it to you. You can look at the other food groups too to see what those serving sizes might look like on this site, which I think is helpful because we as adults often think that kids aren't eating enough because we're thinking about our serving sizes more than what they need. So here's some fruits and vegetables, just 1 broccoli floret, a tablespoon or 2 of spinach, 2 slices of tomato, 3 strawberries. I mean, that's adequate for 1 serving. Of course, I'll need more than that in a day. So let's just remember to get used to the serving sizes for this age child. And then I guess just being aware that these are the nutrients we're concerned that they get enough fluids, that they aren't all sweet fluids, but they have some dairy products and some just water. And then, of course, eating fresh fruit has a high water content. Other nutrients of concern would be folic acid, so getting greens, as we saw in the 2020 goals, and also making sure they get the milk for the vitamin D, and plant-based oils, nuts, avocado, and salad dressings for the vitamin E. It's really also important. So the feeding skills then, the behaviors, as we've already mentioned, are going to change a little bit. The 12-month-old can actually pick up the cup. They're able to chew, they're able to clean their lips. We mentioned these things, but we do have to watch out for choking because still it's quite a problem all the way up through, preschool age. So just a couple other slides. They'll end this up is remember there will be food jags, so you might observe them a day when they're not eating much, or they might be a heavy eating day. It's hard to know. So watch these things as you go to the mini university, and the slides are available on Chapter 10 page if you want to watch any of the videos. Okay, thanks.